Welcome to Strictly Facts, a guide to Caribbean history and culture, hosted by me, Alexandria Miller. Strictly Facts teaches the history, politics, and activism of the Caribbean and connects these themes to contemporary music and popular culture. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Strictly Facts, a guide to Caribbean history and culture, with me, your host, Alexandria Miller. It is officially summer vacation, which for students like me means we get a little bit of a break, just a small one, of course. But, that means time to spend with family for a few months, bleach and watch movies late, or maybe you're traveling. Whether you are in the diaspora and will be flying home to the islands this summer, or you live in the Caribbean and are looking for some downtime and ways to be your best dryland tourist, why not do something a little bit different than ir a la playa or going to the beach? Add some Caribbean history and culture to your travel plans this break with a few of the Caribbean's leading World Heritage Sites. What are the World Heritage Sites, you ask? Well, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, otherwise known as UNESCO, has identified places around the world to be protected and preserved. Their program for intangible cultural heritage, of which Jamaican reggae and Haiti's soup joumou have been recognized, World Heritage Sites are safeguarded as important locations for their outstanding value to humanity. Did you know that our region holds 18 of the world's almost 1,200 heritage sites? The number climbs to well over 20 when you consider that the quote unquote borders of the Caribbean do not stop with our oceans, especially since several other countries like Belize, Panama, and Suriname, to name a few, are culturally and historically part of the Caribbean, though geographically in Central and South America. UNESCO divides these sites into three categories: cultural, natural, and mixed sites, with an added inscription for sites that are in danger. Much to our own preservation skills, the region only has one endangered World Heritage Site, and that is the Portobello San Lorenzo in Panama, where structures dating back to the 17th century were built to fortify the Caribbean side of Panama during the transatlantic slave trade. Panama included, we're sharing a list of the Strictly Facts top recommendations for your travel plans this summer via the World Heritage Sites. Let us know after listening which ones are on top of your list. First up is the historic Bridgetown and its surrounding military garrison in the Caribbean island formerly known as Little England, Barbados. While we'll save the Little England story for another episode, the old town of Bridgetown has magnificently been preserved since building began in the 17th century. At one point, a major port of colonial trade, Bridgetown's combination of British medieval serpentine design and Caribbean Georgian architecture were particularly unique amongst the differing Spanish and Dutch urban planning designs that were popular at the time. Additionally, historic Bridgetown, the nearby garrison known as St. Anne's, and the natural harbor Carlisle Bay played a critical role in British imperialism, including being the Eastern Caribbean site of the British Army and Navy. Next is Cuba's Alejandro de Humboldt National Park, the largest Caribbean island by both size and population. Cuba also holds the most World Heritage Sites in the region. The Alejandro de Humboldt National Park, AHNP as it is known, is located in eastern Cuba in the Naipe-Sagua-Baracoa Mountains. The Humboldt National Park is one of the island's richest areas of biodiversity, as home to over 1,300 plant species, 900 of which are native to Cuba, and several more yet to be discovered. The natural habitat has sustained itself through several epochs of climate change and continues to thrive as one of Cuba's two natural heritage sites due to its mountainous terrain and the trade winds it receives from the western part of the island. Similarly, Dominica's Morne Tropiton National Park is an equally rich natural habitat with plants, reptiles, and amphibians only found on the island. and is one of the few remaining intact forests in the insular Caribbean. Some of the many features that make it what it is, especially as a national park, are the combination of its hot springs, 3 freshwater lakes, its literal boiling lake, and a staggering 5 volcanoes. Boiling Lake is one of the largest of its kind in the world, boasting temperatures as high as 95 degrees Celsius or over 200 degrees Fahrenheit. With no human settlements in its vicinity, the Morne Tropiton National Park has been able to preserve and conserve its environment for centuries, hopefully to come. Fourth, we couldn't make this list without including Haiti's citadel at Sans Souci. One of the earliest inscribed sites, the citadel is a monument built in celebration of Haiti's independence in the early 1800s, designed by Henry Christophe, one of Jean-Jacques Dessalines' military generals. Christophe was a Mason, and through his construction, the citadel remains the only African-designed fortress in the New World. Not only is the citadel a symbol of Haitian freedom and self-reliance, but it is also an example of the military's engineering ingenuity. Opposite the traditional strategy of creating defense structures on the coast, which was devised by the French, the First Black Republic designed the structure for interior protection in the nation's mountains. The citadel also doubled as the royal residence and for some administrative buildings for the government in the early 1800s under Christophe's monarchy leadership. Still standing at over 2,500 hectares, the citadel is a must-see. Last but certainly not least on the list is the naval dockyard and corresponding archaeological sites found in Antigua. Though built to protect sugarcane plantation owners in the late 18th century, it exists today as a reminder of the past and in homage of the enslaved Africans whose labor was critical to its construction and survival. As we know from our episode last year with Dr. Natasha Lightfoot, Antigua was crucial to the British Empire for several reasons. The naval dockyard's preservation ensures the legacy of this history for future generations. And furthermore, as one of the most recent additions to the list, Antigua's naval base architecture also highlights how the Caribbean influenced British architecture, as the traditional Georgian designs were adapted to better suit the Caribbean's warm climate. Well, there you have it, Strictly Facts family, our list of the must-see and visit places of the Caribbean's World Heritage Sites. To view the full list, both in the Caribbean as well as across the world, check out the link in our show notes below for this episode. And if there are places you visited or plan to visit, or places you think should be on the list, feel free to send us a DM or an email or tag us in your pictures on social media. As always, Strictly Facts family, I hope you've enjoyed this episode and learned a bit about Caribbean history, culture, and World Heritage Sites. I hope you're off to a great summer, and in the meantime, till our next episode, please be sure to leave us a rating and a review on your favorite podcast platform. Share with your loved ones, and let us know what else in Caribbean history you'd like to learn in our upcoming episodes. Till next time, Lickle more. Thanks for tuning in to Strictly Facts. Visit strictlyfactspodcast.com for more information from each episode. Follow us at Strictly Facts Pod on Instagram and Facebook, and at Strictly Facts PD on Twitter.